Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
Never love him. I
have not heard you talk about Brandon like that, Julia.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Brandon. You love your dog more than you love Brandon?
Yeah. It's different love.
It's different love.
It's like pizza and burger. I don't know what I love more.
Yeah, that's a good response. Now, some people would think that's absurd, that you would love a pet as much as you would love your partner. But I can relate. I know a lot of y'all can as well. It's like asking someone, which child of yours do you love more than the others? And it's you can't really compare those kinds of things. She loves her dog and she loves Brandon. It's fine.
Hey, what's going on with us after like 5 years, after 3 years?
Brandon, do you think you and Julia are on the same page about when you're going to start a family?
I mean, she can talk about it. Tell me how many you want.
This.
Tell me what you want to name it. But she hadn't even talked to me about it yet, and she's bringing it up in front of friends. So.
I don't think nothing wrong with it.
All right, so we're hearing them talk about their future, and sounds like Julia is saying, I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about kids. I want to talk about where are we going to be in 3 years, where are we going to be in 5 years. And Brandon is saying that he doesn't. Well, he's not saying he wants to talk about it. And he's also saying that she brings it up around friends. Oftentimes that means that the Julias of the world feel like they can't bring it up when they're alone because they won't get a response, or they won't get the response that they want. And so they bring it up in front of other people because they feel like they're going to get support. It's not a good way it's essentially triangulation, and it's not a functional way of communicating. And it actually can really damage a relationship, that you have a complaint about your partner and you tend to bring them up in front of other people. It can be really humiliating and really put people in a bad spot. And I don't recommend it. So if Julia is doing that, that's not a good idea. Now, I could see why she might be frustrated with Brandon, because my hypothesis around Brandon, I don't know, total speculation. I'd have to talk with him about it. But it seems as though Brandon suffers from dependency, meaning that he doesn't know who he is, doesn't know what he wants, especially without guidance and someone telling him what to do, and resists actually people who, the conundrum of being dependent is that on one hand, you are looking for guidance because you believe you can't do things on your own, or you might not even know what you want. But when other people do give you guidance, you actually resent it because you don't like being controlled and you don't like other people telling you what to do. So I don't know if that's what's happening between the two of them, but it's possible.
Honestly, you're married.
That's a
so
natural
what?
desire when you get married.
So what?
You know?
If I want baby right now, you thinking we don't have baby right now? You thinking I put him condoms in the middle and like have hole?
I hope she's joking. This is something that I see on TV or in culture sometimes, this joke about like, well, if I just wanted a kid, I just put holes in the condom. No, that is not okay. Just imagine if we reversed the genders in a situation like that. And the man wanted a child, the woman did not, and the man put holes in the condom or didn't wear a condom or something like that. That is an incredible violation. Now, maybe she's just joking. I hope she's just joking. But I think it's the sort of joke that I wouldn't laugh at. I'd be like, okay, I guess that you're trying to joke, but that's not, you understand people actually do that, right? I mean, it's akin to making a joke about sexual assault or something. It's just not funny. It's not okay.
Which is not normal. It's crazy.
What does she do?
Well, she just wants me all to herself. And she doesn't want me to hang out with my friends or even have a friend who is a girl.
I tell you what, I feel like maybe because I not have any friend here. And this is why I'm jealous.
All right, good. So she is talking about maybe why she is being unreasonable. It's implied in her language that she believes she's being unreasonable by not wanting him to have any friends. Yeah, okay. So hopefully she can change that behavior because he deserves to have friends regardless of gender.
Brandon, like, why he have friends? I'm not.
You've had people try to make friends with you.
And then Brandon says that, which he often will say, which is unreasonable. Yeah, maybe, but the friends that we've seen on camera anyway have not tried to be friends with her at all. They've judged her, they've attacked her. So that's, unless there's other friends behind the scenes, that's unreasonable. But it's also unreasonable to just expect someone to pick up and move to another culture and instantly have friends. So, it takes a long time.
You say no, it won't change, Julia? Your jealousy won't change?
No, it's never changed. I mean, like, it's come down, trust me, it's come down. Oh my God, if you talk with my ex-boyfriend, he's just like, oh my gosh, you're crazy.
That's confidence, you know this?
So Julia is admitting that she has a problem, I think, but at least she's admitting that she's jealous and that it's better now than it was before. So hopefully she can continue that trend and become more attachment secure and more functional intercommunication. As I always say, there's nothing wrong with jealousy. It's what you do with it. There's nothing wrong with anger. It's what you do with it. When you're jealous, you feel insecure. It's a feeling of insecurity. It's a feeling that you're going to lose someone. It's a feeling that your partner doesn't really love you. It's a feeling that your partner isn't dedicated to you. And you're entitled to that feeling. What do you do with it? Do you try to control? Do you yell? That's dysfunctional. Or do you just say, hey, you're hanging out with your friend a lot and it makes me wonder if you really love me. I'm not accusing you of anything. You're free to have your friends, but I just feel distant from you right now. And can we spend time together, or can we do something to demonstrate that our relationship is secure?
You have to be more confident.
That's the way.
No, I mean, like, I have all my relationship before and everyone cheating me. Is this true? But
Oh, everyone has?
So she's saying the reason why I get jealous is because every one of my past partners cheated on me. So that's a good enough reason for me anyway to have enough relational traumas to be paranoid and to be unreasonable and to have some healing necessary for that. And Andre is saying you need to have confidence. And okay, but confidence is something that's built interpersonally. And this is something that one, a lot of people don't think about, and two, a lot of people will yell at me about this when I say these sorts of things, is that attachment security and self-esteem and confidence are things that are generated from relationships typically. There are things we can do kind of. You can almost say we're in a relationship with ourself or our inner child. We're in a relationship with that, and we can, compliment our inner child and say, you're a good person and you're worthy. These self-affirmations can help for sure. But in my experience, people who have been traumatized relationally, this positive self-talk only goes so far. And it's also hard for the positive self-talk to even be genuine because the person doesn't really believe it. We believe about ourselves the way that we're treated. If we're treated poorly, then we believe that we don't deserve things. And the antidote to that is to be treated well, is to have and to cultivate relationships, maybe with a therapist, because that's more safe typically, in which the world demonstrates that you are worthy, that you do have esteem, that you deserve self-esteem, that you are a good person, and that you can trust other people. We learn through experiences, not typically by just telling us things.
yeah.
Oh.
And
I wanna. Maybe I didn't know.
Ben never give me reason, but I still jealous because I'm already a person like this.
But I can see why.
I want to highlight Julia as being very healthy here and differentiated. She said, Brandon never gives me a reason to be jealous, but I still get jealous because of my past. It was extremely differentiated for her to say that. I wish that more people on the show could say things like that.
Why her jealous side would have ruined a relationship.
Oh, you thinking I'm because me?
Oh, yeah.
You, Brandon. What do you mean because me?
Yara, what do you think about Julia?
I didn't really catch that. I think what Brandon was saying was that her jealousy would ruin past relationships, and then she jumped down his throat and said, what do you mean because of me? Well, we don't know the context. I thought that's what Julia was essentially saying, but I guess she wasn't going that far. She was saying that she had jealous. So was Brandon saying, let's rewind that. Maybe Brandon was blaming her for the infidelity. Let's rewind that.
Before, and everyone cheating me. Is this true? But
Oh, everyone has?
yeah.
Oh.
And
I wanna. Maybe I didn't know.
Ben never give me reason, but I still jealous because I'm already a person like this.
But I can see why her jealous side would have ruined a relationship.
Oh, you thinking I'm because me?
Oh, yeah.
You, Brandon.
I don't know. He didn't say this explicitly, but at least I think Julia is interpreting it that way, that her jealousy would cause the infidelity, which would cause the breakup. That seems that, and if that is what she's hearing, it would make sense that she would be upset about that.
What do you mean because me?
Yara, what do you think about Julia's jealousy?
I don't see the reason to be jealous. Not like she's dating some Hollywood superstar man. It's a little different situation. They live in the farm before. Why would she be jealous all the time? I don't get it.
I don't know if that was a compliment.
Right. So Yara is saying, I don't understand why you'd be jealous. What do you think this mild-mannered farm boy is going to do? But that's not how jealousy works. Jealousy often is something that is irrational. It's based on these past harms, these past traumas, and doesn't really, match up with reality. So, and Julia is admitting that.
There are some properties that are pretty close for sale.
How close is this property that's for sale?
Let's just say that you could walk there.
It's the house on the right side.
No, no, no.
Yeah, everyone is consistent here. The parents love their son, and really, a lot of parents, you'd almost want parents to want their children to live close by. So the parents aren't unusual. Now, the way they implemented this in the past in terms of emotional pressure and emotional barriers to them moving out, of course, was not fair and wasn't very caring of the two of them. But it's not unusual for parents to want their children to live nearby, of course. And for Brandon, he's open to that because he doesn't mind. Now, we wonder if he were to really know himself, does he really want to live close to them, or does he feel like he has to out of obligation? I don't know if we know the answer to that question based on what we've seen on the show. Certainly, there's an element of the latter, but we don't really know the prior. And for Julia, she doesn't want to live close to the farm because she doesn't like the farm. She doesn't like the rural area. She likes to live in the city. So everyone's being consistent here. And the issue is mainly between Brandon and Julia. How do they talk about this difference? So you're never going to be fully compatible as a couple. And so how do you talk to each other and respect each other even though you have this difference?
So Betty and Ron, you said that you would love for Brandon and Julia to move close.
We'd be happy to help with a down payment just to be able to have them come close.
There's a farm very close.
Are you saying that you would buy this house for them?
Now, again, it's totally fine for parents to say, we would really love you to be close. We would like to see you more often. And it's so hard to see you that when you're really far away. So we would want parents to have that hope. On the other hand, they're saying we would be willing to help pay for a down payment. And by implication, we aren't willing to help you with a down payment if you're getting a place farther away. Is this part of that dependency cycle of keeping him dependent, of guilt tripping him or enticing him into dependency, a way of sucking him back in? Again, there's nothing wrong with offering to help, but there is something potentially dysfunctional about withdrawing your help if the child doesn't do what you want them to do.
If they move next door to you?
I said that we would help with a down payment if they wanted this house.
If you wanted this house, but not another house. If they want to buy.
Now, the key, though, as I've been saying, is how do Brandon and Julia talk about this? Because Brandon might be like, that might be kind of nice to get to move from an apartment to a house. Then we'd actually be able to have the dog because she loves the dog and wants the dog. But I'm guessing Julia doesn't want to do that. She wants to live in the city. She doesn't want to live close to the farm because she's worried that it'll kind of suck him back in, which is absolutely valid. How do they talk about that with each other? If Brandon says, that sounds interesting, is Julia like, well, that's not what I want to do. So maybe let's talk about this later. Let's see how they talk about it.
Buy another house somewhere else, you're not going to help them with the down payment.
Let's just put it this way. This is what our offer is.
Sean pointed out a very important point, which is, okay, great, you're offering for a down payment, but by implication, you're not going to help them buy a place somewhere other than close to you. So she is seeing what I'm seeing.
No, I never want parents pay for anything. Like Brandon or me take money from parents. No.
Yeah. Julia, I think, is rational to have this preference. It'd be fine if she didn't have this preference, but it makes sense that she does, that she understands that monetary dependence will have strings attached and will suck them back in. And what does that mean, to Julia? I suspect what it means to her is doing things she doesn't really want to do, not being able to have contact with the real Brandon, more an extension of his parents, being sucked back into having to do more stuff on the farm, which she doesn't want to do.
If parents help for house, it's never be our house. No. We buy house with nice property, not near farm.
What's wrong with you? You got a nice amount of land separating that property and theirs.
No.
If you have kids now, there's gonna be
Yes, they can help you.
take care of.
Help you.
Yeah, all this is rational. Everyone's coming from a rational place. I think the parents don't understand the unfairness that they're saying here of, because they know that Brandon and Julia really need money for a down payment, and they're saying we're only willing to, so if there's one fault here, because if the parents truly loved their child unconditionally and really truly wanted to help them as a couple, in terms of my take on it, they would offer the money regardless. They would then say, we'd love it if you moved next door, but here's money for a down payment just to get you guys started and do what you want. So I think if anyone's sort of at fault here, it's the parents, with what Sean noticed as well. Now, and what do I say about this? Because Brandon seems open to it, Julia is not. And I think here's what I'll say, is that this is further evidence that Brandon and Julia haven't really figured out how they're going to talk about these sorts of things. Because, as I've been saying from the beginning, with people with dependent personality, you'll see that their dependency on their parents, unless they go to a lot of therapy, they likely will just transfer their dependency from one person to another. And I worried that he was going to transfer his dependency from his parents onto Julia. And you could argue that this interaction right now is actually emblematic of that, because the parents are saying, hey, we'll do this. And then Julia's saying, no, this is not going to happen. And Brandon is saying, well, I don't know. Instead of, hey, Brandon, what do you want? Here's what I want. What do you want? Here are the consequences if you even consider this, by the way. What do you want to do? Julia doesn't usually do that. Julia just says, no, this is not happening. Now, I'm guessing a lot of people in the audience would identify with Julia in the situation and say, yeah, of course, you don't want to do that. But I'm worried about this dynamic between Julia and Brandon, where Brandon is not really knowing who he is and as I've said before, when you are on dependent personality spectrum, you will succumb and you will be subservient and obedient, but you will resent it. And I worried that Brandon would transfer that from parents to her, because we clearly saw he resented the parents' control of him, but would go along with it and sort of seemed foggy about what he wants. And now he's kind of doing that to Julia. Seems sort of foggy, is obeying her, not really saying, yay, city, this is what I want. It's more like, well, that's what Julia wants, so that's what we're doing. And quietly resenting it.
You have built-in babysitter,
There's a
2 minutes.
babysitter.
Babysitter.
I mean, we're not getting any younger, and there is going to come a time when, we don't know how much longer we'll be able to do this just by ourselves. I mean, Ron's just in the process of retiring. He's had a few health issues.
Okay, totally makes sense. Why does Brandon and Julia have to fix that problem? Sounds like a personal problem, not a problem that is put on Brandon. Now, from the parents' point of view, they, I think, believe that he has a duty to them, which isn't uncommon in cultural pockets. And they're entitled to that, but I would just hope they would have a conversation about that, where Brandon would know what he wants, because it really hinges on that. What does Brandon want? Do we know what Brandon wants? Because he clearly is okay with living in the city. He's clearly okay with living with his parents. So what does he want? And he has to do a lot of therapy to explore that. Because if he discovered, well, I would like to help my parents out, but my wife doesn't want to live there. So how do I do that? Do I work hard so I can pay for someone that could help out at the farm? Do I advocate for the parents to kind of scale back? What we need to know what Brandon really wants before we know how to interpret what's happening right now. But I'm guessing Brandon doesn't really know what he wants.
It's difficult to talk about, but yeah, there's some health issues there that I don't want to go into.
He's not saying anything, but his emotions, his crying is saying something, I think. I'm wondering what's going on with him right now. It's a little frustrating that he's not saying, you would think he would say something like, well, yeah, I'm worried about my parents and I feel bad that I can't be there for them. But I also kind of know that I need to move on with my life, and my wife really doesn't want to spend that much time with my parents, so I kind of get that. But I do miss my parents, and I do worry about them, and I feel like I'm a bad son. So, say something, but he's not saying anything, and and maybe he'll get to it, but I wonder if this is evidence of the dependency spectrum of, I don't really know who I am, I feel guilty, I feel things, I don't really know how to interpret it, I don't know what to say here, I'm going to try to stay out of trouble. I bet you he's in a mode like that, actually, of, well, if I express loyalty to my parents, I'm going to get in trouble with Julia. If I don't express loyalty to my parents, I'll be in trouble with my parents. How do I stay out of trouble? People with dependent personality spectrum will often be in that mode, particularly in moments like this. It's like, okay, what do I do to stay out of trouble? What do I do to gain approval from everyone? And they basically shut down and freeze and get disapproval from everybody.
He didn't want to talk about it. I don't want to go into it.
It's also possible, I don't want to accuse the parents of this, but it's possible in other families for people to use health problems, maybe legitimate health problems, as a tool of emotional manipulation. I don't see that. I don't see evidence of that precisely in the family, but it's one of the options available to dysfunctional ways of trying to get your needs met.
Betty and Ron, do you think that Julia's being a little insensitive?
Well, I think that family is the most important thing in the whole wide world. Some families fight with each other from time to time, but when the reality checks, they still a family and they still love each other and they pull together. That's what family's all about.
Yeah, but you don't have to live next door and control your children and yell at them, because they're being nice now, but we remember the way that they have talked to Brandon previously, right? So yeah, family's important, but I wonder what they really mean by this, because if we look towards the gestalt, the entirety of their behavior, it's possible what they're saying is, you're a bad son because you're not doing what we want and you're not living underneath our control sphere, and we disapprove of you and you're rejecting us and you're a bad child.
All right, Ron and Betty, thank you very much. And Ron, we are lifting you up and praying for you. So
thank you very much.
Get well soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
In enmeshed relationships and relationships with diffuse boundaries, guilt is a strong motivator in behavior modification, particularly from power structures. So the more powerful person will often use guilt and shame as a way of controlling the other person, as a way of, particularly as someone starts to move away. So to control is to just yell and say, you will do this. If that doesn't work, then they will often resort to guilt and shame of, look what you're doing to me. You're killing me right now. You're a bad son. Because the way that this family is situated, there's this assumption that if you are not being harmonious or you're not doing what other people want, then your entire world is falling apart, because you're just so clouded to, it's that lack of differentiation. Not only do we lack differentiation between our reasoning and our emotions, but we lack differentiation between self and other, where Brandon could say something like, well, I hear that my parents want me to move close to them. But I don't really want to move close to them for a variety of reasons. I feel part of me wants to, but I don't really want to. My dad is suffering right now, and he is, scared. My parents are scared for my dad's health, and I am too. But that doesn't mean I need to throw everything away and dedicate my life to him. He's going through something, and I'm sad for him, and I'll be there for him, but I'm not going to move just because of that reason. It's that ability to differentiate between yourself and other people. Whereas if you're completely enmeshed and you have no ability to think for yourself, then it's like, dad is suffering, I'm a bad person if I don't completely just do whatever he wants.
Well, we're wishing him the very best, Brandon. Can't imagine how tough that is, and I'm sorry.
This is life. Is never have life without trouble.
And then Julia essentially is saying, look, this is life. Like, let's move on. It's not a big deal. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. And yeah, but it might be helpful if you reach out and say, I'm sorry. And I love your dad too. And I hope everything works out. I don't think that means we need to move close to him, but I do care. So I worry that this is creating some kind of false dichotomy where Julia and Brandon can't love him while also living in the city. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself and take care of others because we all deserve it. We really, really do.